So I've said that UX is a result, and I've said it's a practice. Now let's look at the role of user experience. A lot of people don't understand what UX people work on. So let's take a look. This is sort of one of the standard diagrams in the field. It's created about 20 years ago by Jesse James Garrett. And I think it's a great explanation of kind of the different layers on which UX people work. Right? At the top of this diagram, you have what he calls visual design. So that's the stuff we see, that's the stuff we interact with on the screen. Visual design, it's typically a strong practice there in kind of graphic design and interface design. And so you can see at the next level that's informed by the sort of the structural design of the screen, the interface design, navigation design, information design. Like, what are we putting on the screen? The next level down, it kind of pushes more into structure. What's the interaction model and the structure of the information that we've designed? And below that is the stuff that typically we don't feel on the screen, but we understand, right? So the UX designers work on functional specs and content requirements, and at the next layer down, they're working on strategy and things like that. So at this top level, it's the stuff that what UX designers are making is the shippable stuff, right? They're making graphics, they're making HTML and CSS and JavaScript, right? They're creating the assets that are included in the build, you know. At the next level down, UX designers are typically creating wireframes, right? So these are kind of the blueprints of the product or service, but they're not the finished designs. They just express how the design should work when it's done. And there'll be other things that they're making at this point, content inventories and navigation models and things like that. But kind of the sort of major deliverable, I think, that we think of at that point is the wireframes. And then below that, they are doing things like research and strategy documents. So those are reports or presentations or things like that. Okay. So at each level of the functional part of or each level of functionality of the system, this is kind of where UX people are involved. Now, I'm just going to take a minute here and explain why you should never say UX, UI to a user experience person. Okay, just don't do it. Here's why. That shippable stuff at the top, that's UI, right? That's the stuff that is the user interface of the system. Assuming it's a visual UI, right? That's the visual design. The next stuff down, okay, they're designing user interface, but they're designing a lot more than user interface at this next level. So maybe this is UI, maybe it's not. But as you've pushed further down into what the work of user experience is, we're not working on UI at all. We're working on strategy and functional requirements and things like that. And so UX is this whole stack where UI is really only the surface layer.